Hi friends, this is Chris Beckman. I'm the corporate chaplain for Ebenezer. And Ebenezer, as you probably know, is over 100 communities caring for seniors, all the way from Grand Marais in the north to Des Moines, Iowa in the south. During this time of COVID, we've been creating this series of devotions and reflections to try to provide some support for our staff and for residents who might be watching this, or for family members. Today's reflection is number 34 in our series, and the title of this one is one you might be a little familiar with, and it's called Okay Boomer. Okay Boomer. Probably by now, if you've been listening to some of these, you know that I have 3 boys. And my boys are growing as fast as you can imagine. 2 14-year-old twins and an 11-year-old. And they're starting to, in the language of my grandma, they're starting to feel their oats a little bit. And the other day, I don't even know what I said, but I said something that I thought was adult-like and profound to my kids, probably trying to say, someday you're going to have to earn your own income. Someday you won't have me to pay for this and that. You know, fill in your own blank. And one of my 14-year-olds, who is really testing out his emerging adulthood, said to me, "Okay, Boomer." Have you heard that before? It's sort of it's a playful put down, one might say. The younger generations, the millennials, the Gen Yers, the Gen Zers, are all sort of looking at us and wondering, oh, what kind of country are we going to inherit from you? What kind of a planet are we going to inherit from you? And it's sort of their kind of pushback, if you will. Okay, Boomer. And my son said it, and to my credit, I was like, oh, honey, that's good. Because I said to him, honey, I'm not actually a baby boomer. I'm Gen X. I'm not that old yet. And he looked at me, and he got this serious look, and he said, Dad, the point of calling you okay boomer is not because you're actually a baby boomer. It's because you're sort of out of touch with reality. I think he said something else. But it actually made me feel really good in an odd way, because I thought, oh, he's learning to try on adult-like conversations. And this one, trying to figure out, okay, where is that appropriate line and where is that inappropriate line? And did I cross it? And fortunately for me, I was in a good place where I could really only see it as my kiddos are growing up and they're testing out adult-like behavior. And they're going to get some of it really wrong and they're going to cross boundaries, but better for them to do it with me than with their next employer or even their spouse. I can handle it and I can help them to understand and to grow from their learning experience. A lot of us are learning where those boundaries are with our children and our spouses, perhaps even your pets, because we are cooped up together with each other in ways that we normally aren't. A lot of the research that I've been reading lately is talking about how many couples and how many parents and how many families are blowing up at each other because we're together too much. And you have the pressure from the outside of the pandemic and worrying about jobs and sickness and money. All are turning the heat up on our spouse relationships, our relationships with our children, perhaps your relationship with your adult children, and especially our relationships with our spouses and partners. So part of this reflection is just to lift up the normalcy of that we are at risk in our relationships because we're together in ways that we haven't been. I'm used to going on a commute every day, and usually I bemoan that commute. I have to get on Highway 35. I have to cross the river in Bloomington. I have to drive in traffic. You know what? I have come to realize how essential that commute is for my mental health. No one can reach out to me when I'm in the car. No one talks back to me. No one says, Dad, I need this, or honey, can you fix that, or can you do this, or why did you leave the dishes out yet again? Anybody said that to their partner or spouse or kids lately? We can't help it to a certain extent. We can recognize it and apologize, but we have all of these pressures coming from the outside and within us as well. So part of it is just recognizing the pressures that we are under as families, as friends, as communities. We're enclosed and there's pressure from the outside and we don't have the normal release valves that we would normally have. My commute. Maybe finding a space where no one can bug you. Sometimes even going to the bathroom you get bugged nowadays. It's part of the difficulty of this time. My invitation to you and my hope for you is that when your kid says, okay, boomer, or whatever your spouse might say to you, when your kid says, Dad, I don't need you, or Dad, I don't care about you, or your dog starts barking, or whatever, the stressors that are in our lives, I pray that you might have that moment where I had, where my kid said, okay, boomer, and all I could do was feel good. I don't know where it came from. And frankly, 9 times out of 10, I don't feel that way. Would you just get in the car? Would you stop doing that? Would you just grow up? Yeah, that works really well with your kids. You want to try that one? Would you just grow up? That works beautifully. No, it doesn't. What I want to say is, oh, honey, you're learning to grow and you're becoming an adult and I'm going to help you. I want that graceful, gentle kindness. And I get it maybe 1 time out of 10 in this time. You might be doing better. I hope you are. But I've learned when I blow up that it's because of all this other stuff that's happening. And I try to return and cycle back and circle back and say, I'm sorry, I get it. But I also cherish those moments of delight when I see my kids pursuing adulthood and I'm not the least offended. Now, of course, they're just starting driver's training, so I'm anxious as all get out. I can't imagine a more stressful time for us to establish our parent-child emerging adulthood relationship. But that's for another one, another reflection down the road. Blessings on the journey ahead, and bye for now.